All right. I think it looks like we're live here, Craig. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. We are live, and I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Got to
We're
be
getting
honest.
close, right?
Yeah. We're 3 days away. The everybody who's registered now got kind of their final email, like, hey, we're here. Here's some
Yeah,
reminders. Let's
yeah.
let's go. So
So why don't we start really quick with you telling us what is it exactly that's going on and where is it?
So we're talking about the EP Mixer DC. So DC should tell you that. However, it is a networking mixer that is taking place specifically in Arlington, Virginia. It's a place
Uh-huh.
called Highline RXR. If you check out LinkedIn, you'll see it, right? And it's everywhere. But it's happening this Saturday,
Uh-huh.
June 8th, from
Uh-huh.
3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So and we're in the triple digits for registration. So I'm
Wow, that's
yeah
really cool. And
yeah.
let me ask you this: who is coming?
So well, I could get into specifics, but here's who is. So here is who is coming. There are business owners. There are people that are hiring, right? So if you're looking for work, this is an opportunity. There are job seekers. So if you own a company and aren't sponsoring, like you should come. There's talent that's going to be there. And then there's the range of people who have classified themselves as other, and that's directors of security, that's CSOs, those are active EP agents, EP managers. It really runs the gamut of people that are either in the executive protection space, which I like. That's how you put it in our last one, or are interested in the EP space, because there's some I think chiefs of police going to be there, some other law enforcement people that haven't made the transition yet, and they're thinking about it. So there's really kind of, as much as I like to hone in on it, there's something for everybody that's going to be there.
No, and one of the things that I always is kind of excited about is that there's also people from the outlier kind of EP industry, like people that do TSCM, security drivers. We met people who run surveillance teams and stuff like that, right? So
Yep.
if you have an interest or work somewhere in the EP space, this event is kind of for you. And it's kind of like an informal forum, right? Where people meet up to, first of all, mix, what do you call when you're in a mixer? Mingle, I guess is the right
Yeah.
word.
Yep.
Mingle with each other,
Sure.
get a chance to meet other people in the industry. For me personally, I always get a lot of inspiration. I get a little bit of idea of what's going on in the business, which I always think is kind of fascinating because you sit and work in this every day of the week. And then you go to a mixer and somebody kind of tells you about what's going on here or what they're doing or whatever. And you go, holy hell, what is all this about? And it's super
Yeah.
exciting, right? Because there's somebody who's working on exciting stuff and you can kind of learn something from all of that, right? And you get to learn or get to know new people that we don't maybe know already, but hopefully we will as as we get to the mixer. So it's really cool. And what also surprises me is the level of people that come there. Of course, there's a lot of newbies and people that want to break into the industry, and
Mhm.
that's all great. But there's also a lot of people who's been in the industry for a very long time, right? So that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a broad range of who is there, because you'll have people that are. I mean, and I put out a post not too long ago. It was like it's graduation season. There had been so many schools that had recently graduated a class. So I'm like, hey, this is an opportunity to be there, right? To come and get seen, and not to say everybody's looking for employment, but again, it's the mash of people that are there that just provides that there's mentors, people that are willing to mentor there, right? And
Mhm.
like you said, the outliers, or the adjacent type of industries that are with that touch EP, that are going to be there too. So yeah, I love it. Obviously, this is something we've been pushing for a few, shit, man, almost a few years now. And really, and it's starting to, I don't want to say starting to, but we're getting more and more attention on it, because the feedback that I get is like, when are you coming back? When are you coming to this city? When are you doing this? What can, how can we do? And people love going there, like-minded, connect. They get a chance to connect. And one of I think about this, one of the success stories that we have was a guy that I met. I think I might have met him at one of the conferences. I can't remember which one, but he came to the one that we did in North Palm Beach last year, and he flew from Pennsylvania to be there, and he left with a job. He was doing work, but then he left, meeting somebody there real time, and he ended up getting a bunch of work out of out of that, right?
Oh,
and then also people are getting, they're finding their partners, right? But that one specifically, I loved that somebody actually came, got work, confirmed that with me. It wasn't just like, hey, I got offered a job. It was like, no, they started working. So things like that, they happen probably every time, and I just don't hear about it.
No, and that's so cool. And one of the things that always happens for me is that we find people that we might have either used as subcontractors, but maybe never met, or maybe don't remember that we met, or you need new people in new places because of whatever reason, right? And that's always a great place to do that as well, and especially because I don't know how it is with other people, but I kind of try to live and die by not using anybody anywhere in the world that I haven't met or worked with personally or talked to in kind of in depth a little bit. So this is always a good place for me to talk to different companies and see what they do, and then set up some kind of a follow call or whatever before you even start the screening and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for that, I guess it has value for people as well. And thinking about this is in DC, which is, in my opinion, and I might be wrong, but it is one of the EP hubs of the US, where there should be a bunch of EP details in that vicinity of Arlington and DC. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah.
How many people do we expect coming there?
Well, so like I said, we're in the triple digits, so we're probably, as far as registration goes, so we're targeting 100. Right.
Okay.
That's what we want. Things like this and more posting and it's one of those things where details live and die by the client. So if the client's like, hey, we're going, it's like they're going. But then people are waiting last minute to register. So that's cool. So the numbers get bumped up, as far as what we expect to get there. So that's what we're pushing toward.
That's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
And what about, you say people have signed up? So if you have signed up, of course, we know you're coming and you're more than welcome or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What if somebody shows up that hasn't signed up?
That's going to happen more than we probably think it will. All right. And that's perfectly fine. As welcome as anybody else there, understanding how the industry can work. Please come. Please bring somebody, right? Please come. We'll get you checked in as you would any other place you're walking into, but you're more than welcome and encouraged to make that last minute decision. If you can register early, great. If you can't, still come. That's what we want. The more people, the better.
I have a little bit of a hard time deciding if you're going invisible or if you actually are the first person I've seen with digital camo on, since it looks like your shoulders are moving all the time, or you have ants crawling on them or something. You're still here, right?
I'm real here in the flesh. Yeah, this is, I don't know what that is. It's an old computer.
I'm just kidding. Just so to make sure you don't digitally camouflaged on
Saturday. Right.
Yep. Well, that's really cool. So when we're at the mixer, right? Just to go over how it works for people who might on the fence or whatever. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of explain really quickly what the event is? Because a lot of people are always afraid of going to these places because they think it's like a sales event, or it's an event where people are going to try to push your company or whatever, right? And we kind of have been policing kind of the pedigree of these mixers pretty well, right? So maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about what to expect.
Yeah. So when you kind of start to finish, you'll walk in. If you've pre-registered, we hand you a name tag. We take your card because we're going to do some giveaways, right? Mm-hmm. And so we'll take a card from you, drop that in a bucket, and we'll kind of send you in. Come in, get yourself a drink. We got a nice bar tab that's open to everyone. There'll be some food there, so you can eat before you come or not. It depends, but you'll have options. But you're there to just meet other like-minded people. When you say, this is not a sales pitch. One of the reasons that I'm the only one that talks on a microphone or to the group in general is because, there's a couple reasons, but the main one is like everybody's going to stand up and why wouldn't you, is to say, hey, my company's fantastic. You should come hire us. You should, come work for us or whatever. But that's not what people are there to do. They're there to like we said, mingle. They're there to connect with other folks. And so there's no sales pitch as a whole. Like, you might run into somebody and they might say, hey, I got a great company. That it's a regular course of the conversation, but that is not who has the microphone. That is not who's talking. And we do that because it's for the industry. While we are sponsor driven, and we are wildly grateful for that. I tell you, we are wildly grateful for that. But it's also, we're there to serve the industry. And so when people feel like they're going to get sold, it's like, why do you go to a card lot after dark or after it closes? Like, so I don't get approached, and you get the information you want. That's the same kind of, it's the same kind of concept here. Is like, come in and nobody's going to beat you over the head with anything. It's just like, hey, who knows where the conversation is going to take you? But also too, with the sponsors, what we do offer is I'll do a sponsor spotlight with them where we do it's a very similar setting to this. We'll have an interview. We'll cut it up. We don't really cut it up too much, but we edit it just a little bit on the front and back end to make it kind of look cool. And then we put it out on social for people to watch, and then it lives there. So people can go back and watch the video time and time and time again, while not getting hit with that while they're in the event itself. And so everybody kind of wins. The sponsor gets to say their piece and what they want people to know and talk about, how great their companies are, and the attendees who don't necessarily want that part of it get to come and just get to have regular conversations, meet some really cool people from different parts of the country. And, and it's a lot of professional development going on right then and there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can see here on the comment line that there's several people here that says they get a lot out of it and you get a great value and have been there before and stuff like that. Awesome. So that's great. That's great. Yeah. Kind of the last thing I want to ask you, Craig, is that I know that you have these tips for people about networking, and maybe you should go over that really quickly. If there's somebody coming that is new to the industry and doesn't really know how to prepare or whatever. Sure. What can you do? I mean, what should you bring? What should you look like? What should you expect?
Right. Well, so that's let's start there, right? This is a professional setting, but it's a casual environment, right? So, you're going to see people there in t-shirts and jeans. You're going to see people there. Probably there'll probably be one or two, right? Yeah, probably in suits, right? You can come as you are, right? However, understand that you're going to be making an impression on somebody there, right? Whether this is somebody that I want to work with, and whether we like it or not, we're judged immediately on how we look. I've done it, you've done it. It just that is part of our thing, and it's our job to get to the bottom of it. But also too, if you can increase your chances just by how you dress, then I absolutely would. Be comfortable, be confident. But but also understand, there's eyes on you, right? So that's one of the first things. Two is, if you have business cards, bring them, and if you don't, like, we're gonna have to have a serious talk. Like, have business cards, even if you like. Well, Craig, I don't work for a company. I don't work for any. Get something in your hand. Like, there's plenty of the digital cards. I'm not a huge fan of them, right? But I see their value. But I'm an old school guy. Like, I like to have the card in my hand. So you can get 250 cards made at like Vistaprint or something like that.
Overnight on Amazon, even.
Right. So, yeah, literally. I mean, and where it's your name, like your, what state that you're located in, or city and state, a phone number and an email, and that's all it has to say. Just something to get your information out to somebody else, that they can then take with them. So there's that. Now, when you get there, man, it's so funny to have this kind of conversation in a room with typically where there's, a bunch of military, law enforcement, security professionals, type A, get some type of guys, right? Typically it's guys. That we're gonna have the ladies there too, but we are in a male dominated industry, and it's bring a positive attitude and a smile, right? Smiles can break down so many walls without you even trying. I can't stress it enough. And it sounds, I don't know if it sounds hokey, trite, whatever you want to say, but it's just so important. And when you come into those rooms, and I pay attention to this because I pay attention to this, the room is filled with smiling faces, right? Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's having a good conversation. And if they're not having a conversation, one of the things that I talked about, I think Alan and I talked about this on the last interview, was if you see somebody standing by themselves and you're by yourself, they need somebody to talk to, and so do you. So you just go up and introduce yourself, and it doesn't nothing has to be so well thought out. Come with a question, right? What's been the highlight of your day? Where do you work out of? Why are you in EP? Like, what interests you about? Like, have one question canned and ready to go for whoever you meet.
Yeah,
and that is enough of an icebreaker. What is it? How much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice. And that's what it is.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, does invisible people use energy? I mean, how do they move, right?
Yeah, right.
Maybe not. Maybe not. All right. Well, hey, it sounds like we're going to have a great event, and we're going to have a lot of fun, which is always important. Yeah. And we're going to get a lot out of it professionally.
Yeah. And they are fun. And that's the thing too. Like, I want to, like, it's a fun thing. It's meant to be fun. I mean, I'm the one hosting. I mean, you're hosting it, but I'm the one on the mic, and like that's actually both of us like to have fun, so we wouldn't be doing it otherwise if it were a drag and we didn't like being there. I love being there. People leave with such great. I mean, there's great energy, and people seem to love it, and they tell me that they love it, and they know they said that to you. So, it will be a good time. So please, if you can, get yourself registered.
You can look at it like this. It's a Saturday afternoon. Would you go to a boring work thing on your weekend?
Right.
Probably not, right? Which is why it's important. And if you want to bring your significant other, bring them.
Yep.
It only lightens up the mood. So don't be afraid of that, or don't be scared of that. And a fun event where there's a couple of free drinks. It's hard to argue with, right?
This is what I'm saying.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Well, hey, man, I got to get on with my day here. I got the next thing lined up for 11. So can't wait to see you, buddy.
You too.
Saturday in DC.
Yep.
What, 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock, 3 to 6. And I'm sure, as any other event has ever told me, there will be after parties and after parties.
Probably. Unfortunately, I have to leave straight for New York afterwards, so I'm going to miss the after parties this time.
Well, that's okay. We'll get caught up in the next one.
Absolutely. All right. Cool. Well, hey, good seeing you, buddy. And I'll talk to you later and see you on Saturday.
Sounds good.
And looking forward to see everybody else.
Please.
All right.